Hello again. Welcome back. For those of you who haven't seen me for a while, it's been about 10 minutes since my last video, and I've just had my sandwich for lunch, so I'm not hungry anymore. My name is Gavin, and this is our 8th video on the general English course that we're doing here on behalf of Gate English Training School. So let's get started straight away. And today's topic is the weather. Weather. Such an interesting topic. In fact, some of you are probably asking, why do we need to talk about this topic? It's so boring. And it's a boring topic. But people talk about the weather all the time. It's all around us. When you get to work, you might talk about how hot or cold it is. When you get to school that day, you talk about this being sunny or cloudy or rainy. You talk about these things. It's often a way we start our conversation with people each day we see them. When you're going to work or school and seeing the same people every time, you need those little things to get the conversation started. It's a very basic small talk topic. Okay, so it's good to know the basic vocabulary about weather. So first of all, let's start with some simple conversation. What's the weather like today? Now, for you there watching at home, look out the window. Let me know what you see. Now, I can't actually see the sky from where I am. There's another building across the road. But today in Australia, where I am, it's warm, it's sunny. I don't know if it was cloudy at all. And I think the temperature today is about 22 degrees Celsius. Now, I'm afraid Americans with their silly Fahrenheit, I don't know how that translates in America. Luckily, in China, you use the same as Australia. We use Celsius. So it's about 22 degrees Celsius. So it's warm outside in the sun, but it's still a little bit cool inside. Now, often when you get to work, you get to see people for the first time that day. You walk in the door, oh, morning, John, how are you going? Oh, how about this weather? Or you might say some kind of phrase like that, or you'll hear something like that. Now, quite often, you don't even have to say very much. Oh, yeah, it's hot, isn't it? You might just say, oh yeah, pretty hot today, isn't it? In it means isn't it? You don't have to say a huge amount. So you come in, oh, how about this weather? Oh, I know, it's so hot. I just want to stay inside and turn the air conditioning on and not go outside at all. Now, that's how we would start conversations. Oh, God, it's so cold today. I've got there, it's so hot, but we just talked about that already for that question. So, you might just come in and say, oh, how hot is it today? Or it's so hot today. Oh, it's so cold today. Oh, I really don't like this heat. But these kind of things get a conversation started. And maybe you'll talk about something. I might say, oh, yeah, I know my home is really cold in the mornings. Yeah, where do you live? Oh, I don't know. And it might start a conversation. Pardon me. Do you know what the weather's going to be like tomorrow? Maybe you ask, oh, do you know the weather tomorrow? What's the weather going to be like tomorrow? What's the weather looking like tomorrow? So, we ask these questions all the time, especially if it's like a Friday afternoon and you want to plan something with your friends, on the weekend. So we often ask this kind of question. The vocabulary here, I didn't write this for you, but you might say, oh, the forecast says it's going to be a nice day. Nice day generally means no rain. Warm, not too cold, no rain. Forecast, the weather report, the news said, the weather news. So things like this. Oh, I just checked the weather. The forecast's good for tomorrow. Forecast means what they think the weather is going to be like on the news. I think it's going to be raining tomorrow, or it's expected to rain. It is expected to rain tomorrow. Those words, forecast, expect, because we don't really know with the weather, because they could be wrong, and often the weather reports are wrong. But use a lot of language like that when we're answering that kind of question. And what about you? What's your favorite kind of weather? Now, I know some people don't like hot weather and some people don't like cold weather, and most of us prefer something in the middle. So what do you prefer? My favorite kind of weather is generally a hot, sunny day with a little bit of wind, probably like high 20s. I like temperatures in the high 20s, like 28 degrees. Now, some people think that's too hot. Some people don't think that's not hot enough. But I think that's a nice temperature. I don't mind hot weather. I'm from Australia, from Sydney. It's a pretty hot country, so I don't mind hot weather. I actually prefer hot weather to cold weather. I prefer this weather to this weather. But again, in case you haven't noticed, I'm a pretty positive person. I don't mind a snowy day. I'll still go out walking on a snowing day. Or a rainy day, if it's not very heavy rain, I don't mind. I like the rain. If it's a hot day, I like it when it rains. If it's really hot and it rains in summer, it's really nice to put on some light clothing and go for a walk in the rain. Okay, so you've probably heard me at this point talking about some different kinds of weather. So let's just check some of that vocabulary. Well, first of all, I don't have photos for this, but we have hot, warm, cool, and cold. Okay, so hot, I'd say, is over 25 degrees. Warm is maybe between 18 and 25 degrees. Cool is maybe 15, 16 degrees down to about 5 or 6 degrees. Once you get below 5 or 6, I'd say cold. Once you get below 0, very cold. And we start, say, freezing. Okay, so freezing. Also at the top, boiling hot. Boiling hot, freezing cold as well. So again, let's say that again. Boiling hot, very hot, hot, warm. Mild kind of means not too hot, not too cold. It's mild, it's fair, it's fine. Cool, cold, very cold, and freezing cold. Okay, and of course, on a nice day, we would say it is a sunny day with clear skies. So you can have a sunny day that has a few clouds in the sky. So clear and sunny, or warm and sunny. We always put the temperature first, hot and sunny, cool and cloudy. Okay, so normally the temperature comes first. I love a sky like that. In fact, I think today that's what the sky looks like in Australia, where I am in Newcastle. And the other side of things. What is that weather? You should know that one. That is rainy, but there are some different kinds of rain. So we normally might talk light or heavy rain. So of course I think there's a different word you guys say in Chinese. I've heard you guys saying something like big rain or something like that. I can't remember. But we say light versus heavy rain. So heavy rain, of course, means there's a lot of rain coming down. Light means a little bit of rain. Often light rain, we might say it is a drizzle. It's drizzling. There are many, many, many words for rain, actually. Because it is something that is just all around us all the time, we do have lots of different words for the weather. So every town, every city, every country you go to will have slightly different ways of describing the weather and all the different kinds of rain. Very, very heavy rain. Oh, it's bucketing down. Like literally, it feels like somebody's taken a bucket of water and put it on your head. It's that heavy. Torrential. Torrential is really, really, really heavy rain, like, dangerous almost. It's so much rain that it actually is starting to maybe cause danger and problems for people. Okay. And I chose this photo for the rain because photographing rain is actually quite difficult. To get a photo of just the sky showing that it's raining through a camera doesn't come up very well. So this is the photo I chose so that we could see that it's a rainy day outside of that person's car. And of course, in winter, we're going to have, that's right, snow or a snowy day. Oh, and don't forget, we forgot the 4 seasons: summer, winter, spring, and autumn. So, of course, summer is the hottest time of the year. Winter is the coldest time of the year. Spring is when all the flowers come to life. And autumn is when all the flowers and leaves start to die. So a snowy day, thick snow. We also can say light and heavy snow there. Personally, I don't like the snow very much, mostly because driving in the snow is very dangerous and a lot of activities and sports you can't do. But it is nice to go out and play in the snow if there's a lot of snow and you can build a snowman or have a snowball fight. Okay, what else do we have here? So, that is, of course, a windy day. Also very difficult to get a photograph of wind. You can't take a photo of wind, so, there's some trees blowing in the wind. Now, there's many different words for wind. Very, very, very strong winds that come through the southeast of Asia and cause lots of trouble. We might call them a typhoon. So when there's so much wind and rain that it actually, again, causes problems. So windy days, snowy, sunny, and rainy. There are, of course, a few other common types of weather. One I've mentioned a couple of times is this one. What do we call all of these? Okay, that's a cloudy day. Often we might also use the phrase overcast. So overcast is when it's cloudy, but it's not a lot of cloud. Like this is really dark clouds, but overcast might be, it's a warm, hot day and there are clouds and they maybe cover the whole sky, but they're not thick, dark clouds. It's an overcast day. Now, we saw this picture earlier. I thought I'd just use the same picture. So when we see this and we hear a noise and the sky is dark and there's a lot of wind and rain, what do we call that? Okay, that is a storm or stormy weather. Now, during the storm, we might see some lightning. Now, of course, lightning is very dangerous, and if there is lightning, you don't want to be standing outside in an open space. And with lightning comes thunder. Now, of course, you'll probably know that lightning light travels faster than sound, so we often see the lightning and then hear the thunder. Do you know the way of counting so that we can tell how far away the lightning is? If you hear them at almost exactly the same time, they're right around you. But I believe it's something like every second you count is like 5 kilometers or 4 kilometers. I can't actually remember. There's a rule like that that scientists have worked out. I'm sorry, I can't remember the exact time. But if you hear, like, if you see the lightning and then you go, 1, 2, 3, you hear the thunder, you know that's probably something like 14, 15 kilometers away, something like that. It's not too close. Don't trust me on the time. Check that yourself if you want to know. It is a cool thing to know. If you don't know that already, go and find out the exact time. I might look at that after this class. Now, hard to find a really good picture, but these are like small pieces of ice, not snow, like thick balls of hard ice. Now, I've had this happen to me once or twice in China. It's not very common. It does happen in Australia sometimes, and this is terrible weather because it really causes damage to your car. This is hail or a hailstorm. Now, again, a hailstorm is a terrible thing because they can hurt. Sometimes they can be as big as a golf ball, those things there. So hail can be dangerous. It can hurt people, it can hurt their cars, it can break windows. But it's pretty cool to be inside during a hailstorm and look out and see all those balls of ice falling on the ground. And finally, a couple of bad kinds of weather. I don't know if you can see that very clearly, but that is a flood. You see the water's coming up to those houses. That is a flood. Well, there's way, 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 way too much water. And it comes up to the homes and the houses when there's been too much rain. On the other side of things, sometimes there's not enough rain. And this is very common in Australia. What do we call this? That is a drought. In fact, Australia, most of the state I'm in, New South Wales, where Sydney is, most of the state has been in drought for pretty much this whole year. There's been very little rain inland. Only near the coast, near the sea, is there a lot of rain. But once you go 100 kilometers and in, there's almost no rain. And the farmers are really doing it tough this year. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit more like that with our deeper discussion at the end. But let's move on for now.